Hello, universe. We are excited to present an update to our business, EMCS.store. This is something a little different than anything we've done before. We decided to release the EMCS Budget Tracker Income, Savings, and Expenses Excel workbook, built for 2013 plus, so Excel 2013 or newer on Windows. You can view it on a phone, but we don't recommend it for heavy editing of the file. It's all completely self-contained, one-time purchase, no macros, no subscriptions, no third-party linking your bank accounts or any of that. It's all private, secure. And we built this because we tried every single one of the built-in templates in Excel and also a number of other ones online. And none of them, although they might look on the surface a little nicer, none of them had the features and functionality we were looking for and needed. So naturally, we decided to build our own, and we were so happy with it that we decided to release it as our first digital product. Some of you may remember from previous videos, my most recent one, actually, I mentioned the fact that we have decided to gatekeep this, and so we're only accepting a limited number of subscriptions in a given month, and we reserve the right within the free trial to refund any purchases in order to strictly gatekeep that. And that's also why we moved the booking service for our custom PyScript strategy and indicator coding service to the booking page, because we have to pre-authorize these on this page. But the same goes for our shop. Some of y'all may remember we had art and merch section. We decided to discontinue those because we're not able to gatekeep those, and this we are. As you can see, there's only 9 left in stock. We'll roll that over on a monthly basis. If we reach our limit, it'll show as out of stock. And I believe we have this set up such that you can join a wait list if it is out of stock. But currently there's plenty. This talks about what it is and what it can do. You can read through that, view the screenshots, all that good stuff. We thought we would create a demo video of this to showcase its features and how to actually use it, because I don't want to say it's overly complicated, but it's not your simple Excel budgeting worksheet. It's got a lot more features than that, and so we'll dig into that. Once you learn the workflow, it's actually pretty wash and repeat, and it doesn't take that much time, but probably the most time is spent learning how to actually use it properly. So when you download the file, you actually get a zip file that contains 3 different files: a Word doc README, a blank template, and with just some sort of placeholder category data, but no real inputs, and then demo version, so you can see how this actually works. And we recommend, obviously, before doing any edits, you save backups just in case you accidentally break a formula or something. That way you can revert and fix what you broke, rather than trying to have to reverse engineer the formulas needed. This is all formula driven. It should be auto enabled to automatically calculate. If it's not, you should select that, but this is the download right here, and everything's all set up for you. So we'll go over the demo just to kind of show you how it all works and what its features are, and we'll also get into some of the more advanced uses, including rolling over month to month and year to year. Like I said, there are no macros in this due to security concerns about those, so it's all completely formula driven. But let's get into it, and I'll show you exactly what this does. So we have a number of tabs. Obviously, we have the README. This walks you through all of this as well, but after watching this video, you should have a pretty good understanding. There's the Setup tab, Categories tab. You can add new categories to this. We'll talk about that. There's the Transactions tab. This is where a lot of the data is pulled from. Also, obviously, these 2 tabs, and then it gets to the summary tabs that kind of lays out all the data for you and where you're at with your budget, your income, your expenses, your savings, all of that stuff. We've got your savings tracker, reoccurring planner. This is used for helping to roll into new months. You can see current month this demo is set on is November. I'll teach you how to roll it over into December, and that applies moving forward. We've got our annual expense view, annual income view. Obviously, these all drop to 0 when there is no data for that next month, but you know, as soon as you input the new data, it's going to calculate it correctly. We've got the annual overview. These charts are nice. It shows your savings, your income versus your expenses, and then there's archives. You don't have to use this feature, but we wanted it for ourselves just so we could look at individual months in the past, see what was going on in that particular month and whatnot. And this is all hypothetical data. We have our own version for ourselves and for our business, but let's dig into it. So the Setup tab is where everything begins, and essentially you have to input your starting savings in this cell, and then the date you wanted the tracker to begin. So say you were starting, you put in data for November, and we're rolling over into December now. If you wanted it to start tracking in November, you input that. If you want to go back and retroactively input all the data for 2025, you can do that, put it to the 1st It's all up to you. The dates have to be specifically in this format. So 2025-11, 2025-01 for the starting month. This is the archiving feature, and we'll get into that later. But let me just kind of review the basics of this here. So, input your starting savings, current month, and the tracker starting, assuming you have data for those months. Under the category section, you have your different categories in this column, and like I said, you can add new ones here. You can see on the budget summary, these are all the categories. If you want to add a new one, you can, let's say, subscriptions, right? And you have to mark it as either an expense or income, or you can mark it as a transfer, but transfers are considered, like if you're moving money from one account to another, they're considered a net zero. So for simplicity, we just set this demo up for income and expenses. So we're going to mark this as an expense. And you can enter in your monthly target. So let's say, I don't know, we have 5 $10 a month subscriptions. So let's put in 50. These columns you don't have to worry about. It calculates all this. This is just conditionally formatted into red to show that these are expenses, and this is green for income. All of this is sort of internal workings. You don't have to touch any of that. The conditional formatting is just for visual reference. You'll actually see more about how this works later, but we'll get into that. And then we move to the transactions tab, and this is kind of the core engine of the whole system. So on the transaction tab, some of these columns are mandatory and some of these are optional. So let's dig into this. Essentially, when you have a new month, you basically what we do is we copy all of the current month's transactions and paste them into the reoccurring planner. We then have to, this calculates the next month. You can't copy and paste this because it'll copy and paste the formula, so you input, we already pre-filled this out, but you have to input the new month, and you should zero out the actual, because this is for inputting what the transactions are. And we recommend, if you mark any of these as no, like say these were just one-off monthly expenses, you delete those from the reoccurring planner. But we'll get more into that right now. Let's just talk about the transactions tab. So assuming we already filled in all of this for November, we'll show you how this works rolling into December, but essentially, again, you have to have the date format exactly as this, year dash month, as 2 digits for the month. The date column is optional. If you want to enter specific dates for these transactions, you're welcome to do it. It's not used in any calculations. The type column is mandatory. Like I said, there are actually 3 types. You can use this, but if you use transfer, it's not going to factor into as an expense or as income. It's basically a net zero. You're just moving money around between counts. You're not paying anything, you're not making anything. The category, again, this all comes from the category tab, so you can't just enter a brand new category without entering it here first, right? So we put in this new category, subscriptions, right? And on the budget summary, there it is now, right? And it's showing nothing, so we can go ahead and let's add this 2025-11. This is going to be an expense. When you first add a new one, you have to actually type it, but after that, it'll remember. Let's see, Netflix, HBO, ECT, right? The planned, this should come from your target, so we put in 50. So we're going to put 50. And let's say, yep, we didn't cancel any of them, and yes, this is reoccurring. So let's jump back over the budget summary, and there it is. This column is conditionally formatted, so if it's green, that means you spent less than your target or your planned amount. If it's red, you spent more, and if it's white, you just exactly hit your target. But there, so we just added a new category and entered the data. You essentially do this month over month. So you'll put in your income, maybe you have a side gig, maybe you're receiving interest or cash back on savings or something, whatever it is. You can customize this however you like. You can change all these categories to anything you want. Like I said, add new ones, whatever you like. It's fully customizable. And it shows you what your planned income is, your actual income, planned expenses, actual expenses, your net planned, net actual, your starting savings, your ending savings. Like I said, this ranks. So we were talking about all this stuff. This internal workings here translates to ranking these for this chart here. From number 1 was loans on this, right? Loans. Number 2, housing, and so on and so forth. And then you can see a breakdown of it. You can obviously move these things around if you're adding more categories, whatever. It won't break the calculations. It shows you your metric total. So that covers the basic monthly internal workings and workflow. So when you have a new transaction, you fill in the actual amounts, compare it with your plan, and all this is calculated for you. Savings tracker, similarly, it's all calculated for you. You can see we started inputting data on this in the transactions tab all the way back to January. And it shows you where you're standing right now. So This will continue to populate as time moves forward. You can see, I mean, it's a big time scale. It's going out to 2040, so it's a very, very long view. You could probably delete some of these rows if you wanted, and not have it be that long, but we play the long game. So we've got the reoccurring planner. We'll get back to that, but first I want to highlight some of the other features. So this tab shows your annual expense view, so you get a breakdown of your monthly expenses. You also have some income information here too, which is nice, but we have a whole separate tab for that. And then the chart for the monthly expenses. Income tab, same thing. We've got this all broken down by month, and you can see the trajectory plus the annual overview. And it's really nice to be able to see what your savings is doing and your income and your expenses all on one chart. You don't have to worry about this tab. You can read it. It helps clarify how you are supposed to archive things. We have an example of an archived month from October. We'll show you how we roll into December and archive November. The archive helper is just more internal workings and instructions. You don't really have to do anything with this. So, how do we roll over into a new month? We can see we have October already archived. So before you change the current month here, there's a few things you need to do. You need to go to the budget summary, and you need to make a copy of it. So move or copy, create copy. That creates a new copy. We recommend, excuse me, renaming it. So we're going to rename this November. And right now it's set up to read the month data from the setup tab, cell B4, right? That's not what we want for the archive. So what we'll do here, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Huh. Let's undo that. I might have just broke our own workbook. Let me click on a cell without a formula. No. Undo that. There we go. Alright, we just fixed it. So that's not what we want. What we want is a new archive month. It can get a little finicky with the formulas. Just hit enter and then revert if you run into that problem. Or at worst case scenario, you should have your backup. So we're going to insert a new month here. Oh, actually, we're going to put in a new one, a new row here. And we're going to mark it 2025-11. Right? And so on the setup tab, this cell is B8. So on that copy of the budget summary, we're going to point this to B8. And there, you can see we haven't changed the budget summary, which is still showing November. These things are showing the exact same thing, right? So we also recommend pulling this over, this tab, this newly created archive tab, and putting it in chronological order. So we got our October budget summary, and we got our November budget summary, right? So that's great. We've now archived November. So how do we roll into December? So basically what we recommend doing is, prior to editing that or anything else, you go to your reoccurring planner. So assuming you have already copied your transactions from November, copied all those, right, into here, and removed any that were marked as no. I'll just go ahead and I actually think miscellaneous, yeah, it should be yes. So let's go ahead and do this. So copy all these, go to the reoccurring planner, paste, and we're going to zero out all of these actual, and we're going to change this. We can't copy, remember, you can't copy from this because it'll copy the formula and it won't work. The date format has to be exactly this, as text. So we're going to change this to December, and then you can copy this. I'm going to copy that, paste, I'm going to select both, copy, and paste. I'm going to select all four. There's probably better ways to do this, but copy, oops, sorry, copy, paste, paste, copy, I missed one here, paste. Alright, so we got our reoccurring planner set up for next month's expenses. So we'll copy all that and go back to the transactions tab, paste. So now this is prepped for December. The budget summary is still showing November data though, right? Well, why is that? Because this is pulling the selected month from the setup tab before. So now we have November archived, so now we can change this to December. And bam! The budget summary is now showing December data. The blue, remember, is planned. There's no actual in here yet because we haven't entered any data. So now we have successfully rolled over into December. And the same will actually be true, not for the savings tracker, because obviously this goes out to 2040 or whatever, but when it comes time for the annual view, right, you're obviously gonna have to archive, if you want 2025 archived, And you just follow the same process. Just make a copy, right? And you may have to, we haven't actually rolled into a new year with this yet, so we may release a quick video about that, but I believe it should be pretty self-explanatory. But you may have to change the cell it's pointing to, because right now it's set up B4 to determine the year. So you may have to change it to, you know, B7 or 8 or whatever, something that's pointing to 2025, because when we roll into December, January 2026, the original tab will automatically update and it'll clear out all this data. So you'll want to archive all that before rolling into January. Same with this tab and this tab. But it's all pretty logical, and you can see now we have rolled into, it follows basically the same logic for rolling over into a new month. It's just on the annual views. So you can see now we have our budget set up for December, and we can start putting in some, you know, assuming our job is stable income, we can already start adding some data here. And there, it just updated automatically, right? That just got inputted there. It's all updating automatically. It works perfect. We're super happy about it. Let's say 400 for groceries. Just to show you this is working. There, it just populated. We got $100 of our plan remaining. You know, put in your housing costs. Boom, there it is. It tracks all of this perfect. It really helps us to see where our money's coming from and where it's going. Looks like I might have messed up the formatting there, from this background to that background. It doesn't really affect the functionality of it. If you were wanting to maintain this consistent background formatting, when you copy a darker blue row and you're wanting a lighter blue row, you need to copy from a lighter blue row. So apologies for that, but that's the basic working demo. We hope you liked this, and if so, please like and subscribe. It helps our channel, and share with anybody you think this could be helpful for. We found this tremendously helpful and way better than anything, and we put a decent amount of time and work into this, and that's why this is a premium income savings expense budget tracker. And we also like the security and the control, being completely self-contained, no macros, no third party, none of that. And we hope hope you all like it too. As I mentioned, it's available now on our website, and hope you all are well and be blessed.